Greetings and good day. My name is Coach Veronica Marie, and I am here with a little talk based upon my ebook. The ebook is entitled Self Intimacy: A Beginner's Guide to Self Discovery. You can purchase the book on my website at veronicamarie.com. If you have already purchased this book and you would like to join my personal book study, send me an email at veronicamarie@mail.com. So today I'm continuing this talk on expectations, and I'm going to have a very candid conversation with you because somebody needs it. So here's the warning. If you feel really sensitive and you get triggered when people tell you things that are good for your mental wellness, then this teaching is not for you. Your expectations are based upon your belief systems about the world around you, the people around you, yourself, etc. Your belief systems may or may not reflect universal truth. When your belief systems do not reflect universal truth, you get upset easily. You contract around people. It's hard for you to keep your grounding in hard situations or in triggering situations. You get tossed to and fro by other people's words. You are deeply affected to the point where you actually have to recover from simple everyday conversations. This is a sign that your belief systems need to shift if your wellness is important. If a conversation causes you to have to recover as if it was a whole bad day, then it's a sign that you need to reassess your belief systems. If you come in contact with people daily who rattle your nerves, and you have to zone out often, and you have to bring in all of these coping mechanisms, it's a sign that you need a shift. If you are around people daily who have differing views about life and different ways of seeing the world, and it causes you to contract and have to become very um, a, a blunt or contracted, I'm going to use that word again, then that's a sign that you need to reassess your belief systems. When your belief systems align with universal truth, you experience ease. You experience flow, even though people are doing what they're doing. You don't need a coping mechanism. A coping mechanism is a temporary mental strategy designed to get you from point A to point B, but it is not a long-term strategy. It will wear you out. You will begin to have to isolate and have a hard time when you're around people, especially if the people you have a hard time with are in your immediate vicinity, i.e., home, job, places that you frequent, etc. By now, you understand whether or not you need to shift some belief systems so that your expectations can match truth, so that you can experience ease. Now, some people fight me on this, and they want to hang on to their belief systems and expectations, and they want to live on off of coping mechanisms, and that is totally fine with me because every person is on their journey. But this message is for a person who wants to get along in this world and thrive, not just cope. You see, there's a difference. Coping is a survival mechanism. Thriving and flowing, right, is a way to expand and become fuller within yourself so that you have more brain space for your own ideas, more brain space for your own healing, for your own thoughts. You have more brain space to create what you desire and actually enjoy what you're creating without someone coming along and ruining your day. I think I've said enough on that. You probably have identified where you are. When your belief systems don't match universal truth, you find it hard to get close to people. You have a suspicious mind. You fight yourself in your head daily. Even when things are good, there's some dilemma, some chaos that you're hoping to avoid. and you think it's the people around you. You think it's the negative people, and you think it's their attitudes and the way that they are, but I beg to differ. It's the way that you are. They are reflecting the ways that you do not stand in your authentic, true power. They're reflecting the ways that you operate in powerlessness around them daily to the point where you have to hang on and cope. Universal truth is true for everybody, not just you, not just the people around you and such. Plugging into universal truth means that you harmonize with universal frequencies. The intelligence of this whole universe, I mean, what rebuttal would you have to that? Except that you're afraid that if you allow people to be who they are without your judgment, without your expectation, you may not know what to do with yourself because for so long, that's all you've done is judge and call this wrong and call them negative and call them this and that. And it gave you a sense of identity. You're better. You're the strong one. You're the righteous one. You're the bigger one. Sometimes you're building an identity on other people's negativity, and you're saying you don't do drama, you want peace, but you are the drama, and the chaos comes from within you because it's in your mind. You have a chaotic mind, a suffering mind. This is for somebody who wants to be brutally honest with themselves because they are ready to shift into something else. They're ready to enjoy their lives. I must continue to reiterate that. This is not for you if you need to still attach to words and phrases and the stories of your past. In my book, I say this, and I'm going to say it again. If you've been telling the same story about the same situation for years and you have not gone any deeper into it, it still went the same way, you still have the same perspective. That's problematic. That means it's not resolved when it was a negative situation. Let me give you an example. So let's say I'm a 5-year-old, right? And as a 5-year-old, most people are taller than me, right? So when I look up, I only see from a certain perspective. And I say that the people around me are giants. That's my perspective. Now, let's say I'm now 20 and I still tell that same story. The people around me were giants. Was that true? But you kept the same perspective and you tell it with the same fervor, the same adamancy, the same energy as if it is true. Many of you are doing that same thing. You're recounting and retelling a narrative from a perspective that you have long grown out of. You use the same phrases, the same words. And when people question or challenge it, you defend it the same way. It's a sign that it's time to grow forward. Who keeps the same perspective for 10 years when it wasn't a positive situation? It's problematic. I'm having a very blunt conversation with you because someone listening wants this, needs this, is desperate for it. So if I were to retell that story, I would say when I was 5, I thought the people around me were giants. But as I've grown, I realized they weren't giants at all. It's just that I was shorter because I was a child. Now imagine I had a control story on that giant story. They were giants and I was always forced to do this and not allowed to do this. And then you would grow up and continue telling the story like that. They forced me. Many people have this story. They forced me. I was not allowed. They made me. I'm being made to feel. People talk like this, right? And it tells me that they still have a disempowered perspective about their past and also their present because they're still seeing it the same way. Now, what if I said in retelling that story, when I was 5, it seemed like the people around me were giants and I was intimidated and my fear caused me to A, B, C, D, and E. But now that I'm older, I see that that fear really wasn't so big. I hope you see where I'm going with this. So evaluate yourself when you contract. The second part of this is you have a character in you that likes to control other people. And most people will say, "Oh no, I'm not controlling. I just want people to be," but you don't. Because you contract and you react and respond in ways that cause you to judge others when they're not thinking the way that you want them to think, or doing the thing that you think that they should be doing. You get very upset and bothered within yourself, such that you need to recover. You contract. What if you just heard people's opinions and allowed it because it's part of life? What if you didn't absorb other people's pain and stories and apply it to yourself? What if you didn't listen to another person's situation and make it about you by internalizing it and telling them about when you experienced it and what you wanted? What if you stopped giving unsolicited advice? What if you didn't judge a person as low vibration, wrong, right, or whatever, and you just allowed them to be, just like you allow trees to be? You don't sit there and go, "That tree is too tall. It needs to be cut down. Oh my God, I hate looking at it." And if you do, you need a little shift, a big shift. You see the tree is, you acknowledge it, you move on. This is the nature of our existence with other people. When you want to be closer to them, right, it definitely takes a healthy dose of this. Because if you are not an allowing individual such that you can be at peace with others, when you cope, you create coping relationships. You react from trauma, they react from trauma, you think it's them, they think it's you. At some point, you have to see that the biggest portion of what you are experiencing is coming from within. Yes, they are saying a particular thing, but how you're processing it is causing you to contract and tense and defend. I'm talking to somebody who is ready to change. Sure, you can isolate yourself from people and say it's them and you just need to get away from them. But sometimes you can't do that. What then? Do you remain powerless? Hard to focus? Do you remain tense and on guard? And if you do, that is your choice. But realize that people have a way of perceiving that and they begin to treat you in a certain energy, right? They can also tell when you are approaching in a certain energy. The only one unconscious of that is you. So then you might wonder, why do they see me like this? Why do they see me like this? And deny it rather than look into it and see, am I creating, co-creating this with them, this image? Because not all of it is projection. Just like not all of what you experience is projection. But if we could remove the projections and the contractions and update these belief systems and such, you would have a more peaceful existence. If you're around a peaceful person, you will notice that they don't get concerned about the things you get concerned about. They don't respond and feel the ways of the way that you feel when you come in contact with others. You need to see the contrast because some people will cling to what they're doing. I have to do this. I can't help it. Well, that is why you cannot also experience peace. And you will say, you will try to go on vacations and try to be by yourself. I'm going to be by myself. But it just takes a waitress or a car to pop in front of you or a random person on the street to voice an opinion that you don't like. And you're going to go back into the same triggers. Not to mention if it's a person you love or is close to you. So here we are acknowledging that the bulk of what we experience in this world is created from within. And then we look through the lens of that perception. If you are tired of experiencing and re-experiencing the same things every day, I think it's time for a belief system check. I'm not talking about positive thinking. That's coping. I'm not talking about ego boosting. That's coping. I'm bigger than this. I'm not going to pay attention. That's an ego boost. That's coping. I'm not talking about ignoring them. That also is coping. Do you want to live a coping existence? I don't think you do. It takes a lot of energy to do that. What I am speaking of is something far deeper. Understanding what your true power is takes time. You can listen to teachings like this. You could work through my book. I also offer one-on-one coaching session. If you need additional information, you can reach me at veronicamarie.com. Remember, this is a part of my book study, an ongoing book study until we make it through the entire book. And we're going very slow and putting this in digestible pieces because I'm very interested in helping you shift your life as I continue to shift mine. This is a reality. It's nothing that I read in a book that I want to teach you. It's nothing that someone else told me and I haven't figured it out yet. I'm telling you what I know. My name is Coach Veronica Marie, and I'm here to support you in creating a healthy and a happy life.